Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another session of Soundclash the Clampdown with me, Brandon O'Brien, as our GM. Thank you so very much for joining us again this evening. Um, OBS is responding well this time, but for a moment just now, it wasn't doing a thing, and I was very confused. So please let me know if a thing wasn't happening. Um, but we should be good. For tonight's session. Thank you again so much. It's been a while. Um, I am very excited to do some things. But before we do those things, um, I should open with the usual housekeeping notes here on this channel, starting with the fact that there are multiple very cool ways that you can support all of the cool things that happen on twitch.tv/ArvanElron, including by visiting the YouTube channel, which you can find at !ArvTube, going to the website, arvanelron.com, and the shop, which you can find by !ArvShop, where you can find all of the cool merch for some of the cool things that happen on this channel, which I keep hinting that I want to do other cool things, but those things will happen, I swear. Uh, Subscribing to the Patreon at patreon.com/ArvanElron, which you can find at !ArvTreon, the financial support of which allows us to do the cool things that happen on this channel, including this. A reminder that that your patronage of the Patreon allowed me to be able to even have the resources that made this thing possible in the first place. So I thank you all specifically for that, and your continued support allows us to continue doing very cool things like this here in the future. A reminder, of course, that you can also do the same for Speculate at speculateSF.com, where other really cool RPG stuff is happening with Greg and Michael R. Underwood and myself, some of which also happens on this channel, so your support there also is your support of that Patreon is also a support of this channel. And of course, the Discord channel, !ArvCord, where you can meet all of the wonderful, brilliant, erudite, thoughtful people who are in this community, get more updates about when future content is going to come up on the Twitch channel, and generally just hang out and be cool. Upgrading Brandon's potato to a turnip, yes. Well, it's not. It would be unfair to say that this is actually much better than a turnip, I feel. It's just other things are behaving turnip-like that I would at some point want to improve. So do not ever feel like you were responsible for giving me a dud. This is not that would be an unfair statement of your patronage. Thank you so very much for that. Maybe we can say, okay, probably not a pumpkin. A pumpkin even is probably far too. Are there bigger gourds than pumpkins? I'm sure there are. I'm sure it's in a larger gourd category. It's probably somewhere in the territory of that New Zealand potato that made the news last year. So it is technically a potato, yes, but it is working far harder than a potato, and then you discover it's not a potato at all. But yes. Thank you so very much for that. You have all been wonderful to me and a great deal of other people in this community. I'm very thoughtful. So thank you so very much. And last but not least, !BLM, on this channel we still assert and affirm the value of black lives in the United States and elsewhere in the world. So your support of the movement by not only reading and being as educated as possible about those issues, but also contributing to those communities as much as possible so they can do the work to help other people make it through an incredibly hostile world is thoroughly admired and appreciated. !Help now. A reminder, of course, as we say on this channel, that you should reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help. We recently crossed the milestone of the 2-year anniversary of gestures at the world. So it is fine to say that you are struggling even more than you were earlier in this situation. I for one have no problem admitting that it has been particularly stressful for me. But if you need resources in order to help come to terms better with your own situation or with the situation of your loved ones and find ways that you can better those situations, those resources are there available for you. And last but not least, exclamation point Ukraine. Razom for Ukraine has been doing a great deal of brilliant work attempting to alleviate some of the complications of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's not anything less than that. I do not ever let the media tell you otherwise. And you can find some of the information about how you can engage with those things in those links as well. A reminder, just as an aside, that this is a struggle that is obviously real and obviously terrifying, but it often goes without noting that these are realities that are taking place elsewhere in the world all the time. Palestine has been going through this conflict for a while without nearly the same kind of acknowledgement in the world. And it is fair to acknowledge, one, that this is unfair and that we must do work to alleviate it if we believe in a just and humane world. And that if we believe that for one portion of that world, we can believe it for it all and be willing to do the work to alleviate those situations in other parts of the world as well. And I mentioned that to you all because sometimes it's a thing that in the heat of world conversations about things that are happening, it can be lost on us, A, that it is happening, that injustice is happening everywhere, and B, that we have the capacity to increase the amount of justice that exists in those places. So, yeah, and Arudinel is right. In fact, that that your support is really just as easy as literally just purchasing a thing, knowing that that money is going into the process of alleviating that situation. And obviously, a lot of other work has been done in a lot of other communities. I recently noticed that itch.io had a bundle for Ukraine that raised several millions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. I'm very glad that people participated in that, not only by contributing to the bundle itself, but contributing the games that were available for that bundle, because there were some very cool things in there. And if you were one of the people who supported that, I am grateful that you see this injustice and engaged with it. And I hope only that we can keep the breadth of injustice that takes place in the world in our acknowledgement as often as possible and engage in similar ways. But with all that being said, let's move from the world and engage with all of the weirdness that is taking place in this game instead. And that means that I should first interrupt all of these smart people who are having this very thoughtful conversation that I'm sure I just thoroughly interrupted. I'm very sorry. You will probably like resolving one of the great math problems of the universe that I can't ever wrap my head around, or something like that. As I come over here, so you can say oh, hi to all of these lovely people. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, lovely people.
Oop. Let's make sure that the Zoom audio was on. Sometimes I forget that OBS has several things going on all at once. But yes, hello. I'm here to play a game with you all. How do you all feel?
Like
We
the
are
Riddler just
excited.
approached me. But good
Or
otherwise.
Jigsaw from Saw.
Oh god, I don't ever want to have that much energy, but a level of that energy is good. But we should, of
We could
course.
go Home Alone. Home Alone was Saw for kids, right?
Wait a minute. I guess. But then again,
Okay,
in Home
let's
Alone,
aim
we
for that.
yeah, in Home Alone we did electrocute a guy, but still fair, acknowledged.
He was fine. He also took like 4 bricks to the face.
Yeah, and a very large amount of bricks to the face. Yes. But yes.
That's the vibe we're going for today.
Uh,
Chat has opinions about our volume leveling.
yes, I should. As far as I can see, everything sounds fine. But we shall monitor the situation as we continue. Please let us know in chat if I
They
still
think
have
I'm
that
quiet.
wrong. The levels that I'm seeing prove otherwise. But again, please let me know. But we should begin, of course, with introduction. So I will ask all of these lovely people to please tell of the lovely people in chat who you are, what you do, and who you will be playing this evening, starting with Amr.
Hello, I'm Amr Emerez. I am playing Naqmat El Qalb, one of our melodies. We both use they, she pronouns, and we are here to maybe do a crime to stop a crime.
That's how stopping crime works, I'm sure. Next, Katie.
Hello, I'm Katie, the Canadian comedian gallivanting around the place where she's from, playing River Song, the rhythm. We both use she, her pronouns, and she's excited to be what I call kid detectives, but adults, aka regular detectives.
Duly noted. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, Clarion West Class of 2017, writer, shitposter, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. I am playing Alice Ishikawa, our other melody. Alice uses she, her pronouns. I'm one of those they-thems.
And as for me, I will be your stage manager this evening. Again, Brandon O'Brien. Also they, them, or he, him, if you fancy. I am a writer, poet, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago, and the designer of this game. So if it looks or feels like it doesn't work, it's because it's not done yet. I will mention, as you can see, Eva Perón is out of office this evening. It is unfortunate that Victor Villavicencio cannot join us this evening because a thing spontaneously happened. No one is in any danger, unfortunately, but it would mean that we will be one player down. But it is actually kind of serendipitous all of a sudden that it just so happened that this arrangement was already prepared for a kind of split of the party anyway. Because when last we left off on Soundclash the Clampdown, the band A Cordial Eclectic had just been given an offer that they cannot refuse by a very pretty promoter who just so happened to be in around the orbit of resident sleaze Quinn Devlin, who has been mildly humanized but is still very much a sleaze. As they have requested the party to investigate further whether the band Weirder is attempting to kill him and why. In the process of doing so, they have given them a modicum of authority to investigate the matter and some incentives to continue investigating, including but not limited to just essentially winning the clash outright and getting a deal. And also give them information about their first lead, which at some point they will dig into. While also Ava got a call from the mother of their former bandmate, Oliver Hoshizora, who has asked if Ava can come over and talk about some stuff because his parents are presently going through it, and willingly took her up on that offer, which is, I guess, in this circumstance, the reason why Ava will not be present. While all of that was happening, of course, the party also learned that Ace Fan has been working in secret with Ava's daughter Andrea. That Ace Fan is in fact the lead singer of Stella and the Horoscopes, and that in the process of that engagement included specifically them trading information that would ensure that the band would remain safe, specifically for Andrea's sake. And also learned very interestingly that every promoter, agent, and executive that has suffered any kind of violence in the weeks preceding this current evening have all been in some way, minor or major, engaged in the career of one Mini Blue. And now we get to see why and what that means. But, of course, that means that at this moment we are following up around the time that Ava has decided to head off to meet Mrs. Hoshizora. We're going to say that she decides that she's going entirely alone. That they're just going to have a parent-to-parent chat at this point. And has left you all at the apartment at this moment, which is still like early evening to be fair. Like 5:36 p.m. To decide what your next move will be and how you will pursue it. So, how do you think you should proceed?
Let's see. In my notes, it says I got an address and a 5-digit number from the woman that was with Devlin.
Yes, you did.
What was that number?
I don't think I actually mentioned the number. Or if I
like what it was.
Oh, right. I did
Not
mention
what it, not what it is.
Right. I did mention that I did mention that your deduction very obviously just kind of told you that it is a fire officer's badge number. You don't know a lot of firefighters, so you can't say that you know the number offhand. But you do know that it seems obviously to be a fire officer badge number. Which implies to you kind of obviously as a result that it should be the person that you are looking for.
We could go down. Oh wait, okay. Setting the scene, is it just us three currently talking
Yes.
about what our plans are?
Andrea
Are
is
we
still
standing around Ava's living room?
you're still in the apartment, and judging from the fact that it would be tremendously awkward to interrupt Andrea, who has been put in her room on timeout for potentially engaging in crime, it would stand to reason that the rest of this relatively medium-sized apartment is fair game. But that really leaves a living room that is also a dining room that is also part of the kitchen. So yes.
Well, feels like if we stay here, Andrea is going to eavesdrop, and I feel like if Andrea follows us, we are going to get an earful. So, want to at least get out of here? Talk about which scenes of the crime we're going to investigate, away from prying ears.
Sure thing. That van was yours, right? I'm sorry, I just think that after the day we've been having, I should make sure of these things.
That van was the van of an ally, but it isn't anyone here's van. The bike is my bike.
There is no space for anyone else on the bike. Someone will have to literally sit in a food delivery tray in order to be River's +1 on that bike.
Okay, good enough. Let's go to your friend's van, where your friend can probably eavesdrop on us. because that was kind of a weird van, to be honest.
I feel like last time we had you on the back of my bike, which meant that there was room for one person.
Well, yeah, well, there is theoretical room for one person, but it's not like room. It's like
Yeah.
the precarious
it's like
decision.
on the handlebars of a literal bike kind of room.
Yeah.
But it may do in a pinch, but it's definitely not going to work for 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, where do you think we should go, Nachmat? You're the sleuth of the group, I would say.
Well, trying to remember, did Devlin tell us a specific location?
The only information that you got about where to go
Is
is that Charisse would have recommended getting more information from the firefighters. The only other location information that you would potentially have is that there was a safe house that presently no longer feels safe, but you don't know where that is, and that a photo was taken at the airport. But by that time, you can already deduce that that flight has already happened.
I don't see a reason not to start at the fire station. That's our best lead at this point.
Cool.
Let's go.
Fire station it is.
Fast travel.
Nachmat, I would like you to give me a D12 fortune roll.
Ooh. Alrighty.
I just want to figure out whether a thing still happens.
That's not ominous at all. Oops. Did exclamation mark instead of slash. I got a 2.
Okay. The thing does not happen. Cool.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, it depends. Because the thing that does not happen is the van is no longer outside.
Yep, that makes sense. That was going to be my first question. So, how
So
far
do we
away
get
is
3
this
on
place?
the bike?
It is perfectly possible for you to find transport via other means. You can wait for a bus, but at this hour, buses are far scarcer than they would be in the early afternoon. You can try to take a taxi, but you'd have to walk a couple blocks. Taxis don't typically, unless somebody is stopping in front of this apartment building, taxis typically don't stop on this corner.
How far a drive is the fire station?
It's on your bike. It would be like a 25 to 30 minute ride. So like taking transportation is far more reliable. That like it would be a far better idea to get a ride there than to walk what may be about an hour plus walk. But you can decide to. It just be very, very late by that point.
Well, if we got rope and 2 skateboards, you could stand behind the bike and be pulled like we are jet skiing,
Water
skiing.
While that sounds like a really fun idea, I think we should probably just get an Uber.
You can also just call for somebody to pick you up. Yes. There is also River. I would like you to give me. I need you to give me some sort of roll. I need to know if a thing crosses your mind as a good idea.
Is it related to machinery? Because I have tinker and operate. I'm
Uh,
not sure what you're going for though.
it's not. Hold on. I need you to give me. Give me an observe roll.
Okay. Observe. I know how to.
How
do
many
trade
dots do you
offs.
have in how many dots do you have in observe?
I have 2 dots in observe.
Okay, your position is risky, and your effect is standard, and you rolled 7. If I'm not
I forget
mistaken.
which success that is.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, that's a minor success. A thing occurs to you, but it sounds like a bad idea. It strikes you as either very like self-centered and us like presumptuous, or just weird. But it does occur to you just idly that at least everyone in this apartment building knows who every member of a Cordial Eclectic is, except for presently Alice. Because not only are you all incredibly famous as a result of the your last performance in the Clash, but all of you were physically present the day that one of their own got abducted by the police. Who they still haven't seen or heard from in several weeks, mind you. So they're particularly attached to any friend of Ava. So it is theoretically possible that if you wanted to be very selfish, you could ask someone here for a ride, and they would probably do it. But it does strike you as a very selfish thing to do.
It also strikes me as a risky thing to do because, as famous as we are, we don't know a lot of these people great. So let's just call it. Did we think of like a fun music pun for Uber?
No, we did not. Do we want to?
The two.
All right, no, right. I forget we already do have I already did have a name for the rideshare service in Sonata 6. It's called Apollo. Because Apollo was responsible for one of the shuttles that that was available for your after party from that first, yes, that terrible party after that first bout of the Clash.
They covered our shuttle.
So you can call on Apollo if you want to.
Let's do that because a rideshare service seems the most reliable, in my opinion.
Okay. You do that. You get a notification, like the app tells you like right away that someone is close enough to give you a ride. And
I just realized, given that we are in an urban area, 50-50 shot our Apollo driver's one of Ava's neighbors anyway.
I would like that to be the case, yes.
Yeah, so you all stand up outside, waiting for this car to arrive, and you see a very nervous-looking 20-year-old dark-skinned gentleman come out the door behind you, look at his watch, look at his phone, grab his car keys, look at his phone again, squint, look up at the three of you. Wait. Am I here for?
Yes.
Ah, cool. Then I guess that's kind of cool. All right. Let me just take my car out from the back, and I will meet you in front here. And he just like walks around the building. Um.
He didn't just pull up with his car. He didn't know that we were like people that he knew.
I guess he was just briefly confused. He just kind of saw, hey, there's a job nearby. I can take this, and it only just like registered for him. Hey, it's actually in front of the building. Okay, cool.
I mean, I guess we'll give him 5 stars because that's the business. But like, you should come out with your car.
Mm-hmm. And he comes around the block in a cherry red sedan. It looks brand new, like it looks like days old. And he's like, yeah, you're going to the fire station, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Get in, and I'll take you there. You're Ava's friends, right?
We were in a band. We're still in a band, but we haven't played in a while.
Yeah, right. Cool. You can just like cancel the actual job. It's fine. I wasn't doing anything anyway, so we could just go for a ride, I guess.
Huh.
And he takes you all on the way to this fire station. While that's happening, while like the trip is taking place, I would like both River and Alice to give me observe rolls. Your position is risky, and your effect is standard for River and limited for Alice.
21.
Jesus Christ.
I wanted big things to happen.
Brandon, I have 2 dots in this.
So
What am I rolling?
you are rolling a d12 or a d20, your choice, plus 4.
Okay. That is going to be a 5. I failed that roll.
Okay,
5 total, but that was a 1 before my modifier.
Alice, you don't notice much of anything. You are kind of emotionally overwhelmed very weirdly by the realization that you haven't been in a vehicle that wasn't a tour bus or a private limo since you were literally a preteen. And just the emotional sensation of that makes it very difficult for you to think very deeply about this car. It feels like you are experiencing something brand new, and it just kind of is doing a thing to your brain. River, how does one? The weirdness of straining on observe is a thing that I still like try to mechanically wrap my brain around a lot. You are noticing a lot of things all at once. 1, remember when you noticed that this car is brand new? I mean that this car has miles in the hundreds on it.
Wow.
You notice that the glove compartment is stuck on a piece. That the door to the glove compartment is stuck on a piece of paper. That, you can vaguely intuit based on how much of it is sticking out, is perhaps some of the documentation on the sale for this car. Is how new this car is. You notice that in the pocket of one of the sun protectors in the front of the car is a picture of the driver when he was very young, like maybe when he was like 15, 16. in a prep school uniform that you don't recognize. There are a lot of prep schools in Sonata 6, but you know most of them, and you've never seen this one. And a picture of him now, with a young girl that you presume is probably his younger sister. Other than that, like the car is like relatively like incredibly Spartan. It looks so brand new. He has had no time to actually do anything in it, but make sure that he has his registration in his glove compartment and make sure that this photo is here. And you notice that there are like two brand new CDs right like in like a tray right under his CD deck that seem absolutely unopened, and that there is a note on it that you're just kind of idly looking at it, that is this small piece of paper that is stuck to the ribbon that is stuck to one of them that implies that it was a gift, and that note reads, whenever you want to listen to the things that I listen to, thanks, D. And yeah, you get this very strong idea that this car is like remarkably new, and that save for like this close relationship that he has with this one little girl, he doesn't really show off a lot about other aspects of his life. That's when it kind of dawns on you in this moment as well that he was one of the few neighbors that you actually didn't see on the day that one of his neighbors was taken away by the authorities. He was probably working or something else. You don't know. But yeah, this is the first time that you're meeting him. It just dawns on you.
So how do you know Eva? Do you just live in the same building?
Oh yeah, Eva is like a godsend in this area. I mean, she's been doing good stuff in the community before. I just kind of used to keep my head down, so it was never really much of my business. But since the whole police thing, since like the clash and all that, she's been much more active in the community, and that means that she's been doing a lot to actually help me out, you know? Like, it's just me and my little sis up here, so it's already kind of a hassle sometimes. I work 3 jobs. I can't pay for someone to keep an eye on her all the time when I'm not around. Sometimes things get, a little tough. And then Ava was the one to let me know that Sonata 6 actually has several community fridges, that there are like affordable childcare options whenever I feel like I can't wrap my head around the thing, right? Like, she's been very helpful. And I mean, I wasn't even asking for any of this stuff. She just kind of, goes out of her way to be a good neighbor. And like you live in enough places and you kind of realize that that's really rare, so it's a good feeling to know that someone is willing to look out for me, and that makes me really willing to look out for everyone else, Because if I was living in another hex, it's every man for himself, you get it? But yeah, if it weren't for Ava, I'd be up to my neck in it right now, and I'm glad that I'm not.
Mm-hmm. He's a great person.
That sounds like Ava for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, what's the hilarious thing about it is? It's only when you meet a nice person like Ava that you realize that you can also be a nice person. That you can actually have the kind of bandwidth to be available for other people is, a thing that kind of, right? I'd like when I have the energy, because I'm not losing it, I can give that energy to someone else so they can't lose it, and then the pool of energy increases, right? It's wild. So yeah. So like, any friend of Ava's is a friend of mine is essentially the thing.
Mm-hmm. Never heard about everything that she did. I don't know. I've always been using my energy to just go day to day, I would think. It's pretty amazing to be able to just expand your horizons and be able to contribute energy to a community.
Yeah. And I mean, the day to day is not bad, right? You still need to live. What do they say on planes again? Put on your own oxygen mask before tending to others. But like, yeah, once the mask is there, you can do things for other people, and that's a good feeling, yeah. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's this music you have here? There's some discs.
Oh yeah. My sis listens to all kinds of stuff. Really wants me to get into this. God, something, I don't know. You can look at it if you like. He just kind of takes it out of the tray and hands it to you. Alice, you notice it instinctively. You see just the shade of the CD jewel case, and you know immediately that it's collected singles from the early years of Luna Trigger. There's one like
Alice is sinking down in her seat, just like full teenager slump.
I actually, do I want to? Nah, this is too mean to make an entire resistance roll. That would be cruel. But I am going to note a thing that you will have feelings about. So, because you were a member of Luna Trigger, you know all of the promotional photo work that you've ever done at this point. You know every single image that has ever been used to promote the group. So you know that the second CD is the only best of album of Luna Trigger that includes no singles or collabs that you were on.
Alice is just like slumping so hard that the seatbelt is starting to cut into her neck a little. And because the hex is not in Asia, she is going to take advantage of it, the fact that, you know, general ambient racism means that I can probably gaslight this guy into thinking I'm not that person on that photo if I need to.
What's this person's name again? The driver's name?
You didn't get the driver's name yet.
Wouldn't it have been on the app?
Ah, right, yes, it would have been on the app. His name is Adam.
Adam knows Eva. Cool. I don't know. I think I would just sit in silence for the rest of the trip.
Yeah?
No, if I notice at all, and I do have 2 dots that observe Alice's general discomfort, just push that CD right back. Maybe I want to know who D is, but you know what? No, it's fine. Probably the little sister. That would be the assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And while you shouldn't make assumptions, that's just what River just did.
Oh god. So Adam takes the CDs back from you. Goes, I haven't even listened to them yet. They're still in the plastic, but I appreciate that my sis wants me to get into a thing I'm not really big on music right now at the moment, but like, yeah, I'm glad my sis got me a thing, so I'm gonna keep it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, music is always subjective in terms of whether you like it or not. Have you listened to our? Who would ask this? It's too late. I'm already saying it. Have you listened to our music?
Um, I mean, yeah, I saw some of the Clash stuff. Y'all really go all out on stage. It's a bit intense for me. The whole let's collide a stage with a whole half moon bullshit. But like, you do got like, you're very talented. I'll give you that. It's just the whole music has a 1 in 10 chance to cause the end of the world thing is a thing that still does my head in. So I'm trying not to get too much into a thing that might, blow up my car or some kind of weirdness like that. I'm sure I'm exaggerating or something, but like, yo, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um,
Music's a powerful thing. Sometimes you have to take that risk.
yeah. D tells me that too. That, the power of the music is that now you get to feel a thing literally, but like, there are some things I could do without feeling, so yeah. Anyway, we're almost up to the place. Again, you can cancel the job. This one's on the house. But still feel free to rate me 5 stars if you ever feel the need to. Anytime you need me in particular, my number is on that page. So you can just call me anytime if you need a ride. It's fine. Again, any friend of Ava's. And yeah, cool. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I don't know who...
I mean, if River was the one that called the ride, River does not cancel the fare, and River tips regular.
I feel like Nagmat would suggest like canceling it and then like paying the same amount but without going for the app so that
Yeah, pay cash.
yeah.
Company doesn't deserve to take a cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you give him a tip out of nowhere, and he's like, "Nah, not really. It's fine. Like you don't have to."
Look. This is a thing you do for a job, and we genuinely appreciate you offering it to us. But it wouldn't be fair to use your time like that. Consider it. Do something for yourself with it, if nothing else.
Alright, cool. Thank you very much. I guess I'll go get dinner or something. So yeah, be safe out there, and if you need me to come pick you back up or anything, just let me know. And he drives off, and now you are in front of the local fire station. It is taller than a fire station should be. It feels like it is built almost like a castle. It is much taller, it is much deeper. You get the very strong impression that someone came up with the functionally terrible idea that because you still need a certain functional amount of firefighters to cater to a hex this big, just put them all in the same building. So it's almost as big as a school. You can see like several dozen fire trucks parked to the side. And yeah, you just kind of walk in through what like strikes you as like these doors shouldn't be here. There are glass double door entrances to this building, and you're like, are fire stations supposed to have doors? Aren't they supposed to like get out as quickly as? But they're there. And you get in, and there is a very like there is a young man in a white sweater and gray khakis, who is sleeping on a wooden bench by one of the uh, furthest walls of this like lobby area. Um, and there is a desk where on the other wall there is a desk where no one is presently sitting or otherwise stationed. The only person in this lobby is this guy who is sleeping.
Ding. Is there like a hotel bell?
There is like a doorbell mechanism on the glass desk. When you press it, you hear nothing.
What? Nachmar is gonna start pressing it like melodically, like to start playing music with it.
Ding,
It's
ding,
ringing
ding,
at the
ding,
pitch that
ding,
only
ding, ding.
dogs and firefighters can hear.
Ding, 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 ding,
You
ding,
keep you do that after like 15-20 seconds. A very large gentleman emerges into the lobby. Like 6'8", very wide, very large. In a black t-shirt and gray slacks, and he goes, "Okay, I know we're presently in a very weird musical time right now, but that doesn't make everything an instrument. Hi, I'm Officer Charles. You can speak to me. I'm the captain of the station."
Hi. I, Katie, forget if we are supposed to be doing investigating under the table kind of thing, or if we can be very open about this.
Give me
Could we observe whether this gentleman's number, if he is wearing it, matches the 5-digit number we were given?
Cool. I would like all three of you to give me observe rolls. Your position is risky. Your effect is standard.
19.
Oh god.
That's an 8.
Survey says 7.
Okay.
So I guess River looks at this man and sees into his soul.
I see
doesn't
those
like what she
little
finds
words
there.
that pop up during the Sherlock show.
Yeah.
Billy Boo Cumberbooch.
Oh god. You are having like a pure mind palace moment at the present. Nachmat and Alice, you notice that there should be numbers on the shirt. It seems to be like this is like their like workout shirt, and that as a result, because you see the Sonata 6 Fire Station insignia on it, although like somewhat rubbed out by wear and washing, you can tell that it should be there, and verily enough you see that there is a row of 5 numbers beneath it, but because that's washed out you can't even tell what it was. River, you imagine that if there are any specific questions that you need to ask at all for this investigation, you can ask any officer here, including the captain. But you also get the impression that does not necessarily mean that they know anything, only that they will know who will know. You get the impression very obviously, like it just kind of like pings in your brain very suddenly. It's possible that only a few people have the specific clearance to engage with this. and or only a few people actually spoke to Miss Sharp in the first place, and therefore any request that you make of Miss based on being invited by Miss Sharp can only be fulfilled by a handful of people. So you will have to look for that person. All that kind of tells you is you can ask general questions, and this person may be able to offer them to you. But if you wanted specific stuff, you should find this badge number. And if you ask this person who that badge number is, he will probably tell you.
We are looking for a firefighter with this badge number, please.
You give him the number, 55138. He's like, oh, it's one of those then. Wait a minute. And he like pauses and looks at River and Nachmat. Y'all are from... What's the name of the thing again? A cordial something. Y'all were in the Clash, yeah? Yeah, yes. Right, yeah, cordial eclectic. Cool. So it definitely is one of those things then. Cool. Yeah, I'll take you to those folks right now. I guess that means I have to give you the weirdest tour of this goddamn building ever. And he walks you out of the lobby. You see that the campus of this building is actually remarkably huge all of a sudden. You get the sense that that a portion of this building is just sleeping quarters, that a portion of this building is just several feet of training space. You notice obviously that there is in fact an emergency pole here, and you see it go all the way up to several stages that you cannot see. And you also see that so it's bolted down to the floor of this building. The floor is it looks like polished granite. It doesn't look like particularly special. It looks very clean, looks very nice, top quality, but it's not. It's not. It looks like it's not meant to be beautiful, like it's just supposed to be present. But around the base of the emergency pole in this area, it doesn't look bolted down. You can see that there is this very wide circle of metal around it that seems gradiated as if it vaguely resembles the aperture of a camera. And just looking at it, at least to River, you get the impression that at this particular point, it is not actually secured to anything. But when you idly touch it, it feels sturdy, like it does not move. And that aperture looks like it is large enough for a person of this captain's size to comfortably stand well within its entire radius. That if something were to open there as an aperture, an entire human person as large as this man can just go down into it. And as you're looking at all of that, Captain Charles is pointing at portions of the building and going, you can't see it right now, unfortunately. We're in the middle of some stuff, but doesn't matter anyway, because we're going to take you straight to the research room anyway. And then he walks up to the emergency pole and whistles, and the aperture opens. Straight down, lower from this point, you can see absolutely nothing.
Are we gonna Tower of Terror just right down there?
Um, so Captain Charles looks at you all and says, I imagine whoever invited you didn't tell you that it was going to be this intense. But in any case, guests first.
Do you have like a rock climbing gree or something?
Trust me, the pole does half the work. It's wild. You're gonna love it. Just do the thing.
So we just jump in?
Um, is your instinct to just jump?
Yes.
Okay. Captain Charles tells you, I mean, if you want, but you should probably hold on to the pole.
River hesitantly grabs the pole and grips it as hard as possible, grabs it with the other one, and does like that thing where you cross your legs over the thing to be as pretty much very tightly wound around the pole as possible.
Okay. Captain Charles is about to tell you, you don't need to do all... When you put your hand on the thing, you feel as if your hand has been secured to the pole by some unidentifiable means. But by the time you've already done that with both of your legs as well, both of your legs are now permanently secured to the pole as well.
Yep.
You feel yourself very slowly traveling downward.
Good. Yes.
As if,
perfect.
as if obviously magically being affected by some engagement with gravity.
I am responsible for the speed I'm going down.
Yeah, you're absolutely confident that this is your fault. Nakmat, are you really just gonna jump into the thing?
Nah, Nachma considers it, and the fact that the captain didn't tell them not to definitely makes them consider it longer than they should, because there's no way the firefighter captain would just let them die, right? And then they decide to grab the pole anyways, just to be safe.
Cool. You grab the pole, and when you step into the hole, you feel as if the pole is actually guiding you downward. Like it is not an object of gravity, but like you are on an elevator that is attached to your wrist now. It doesn't feel like it hurts. It just feels like the pole is moving you downward.
Is it going to lower us at a steady rate? Because at this point, Alice's concern about getting onto the pole is going to be, if I descend at a normal speed, I will smack straight down onto poor River and possibly concuss her.
Oh no, it's very, very slow. It is slower than walking down a flight of stairs. As just by watching Nakmat descend, it seems very slow and very careful.
This is, bad for the fires then.
Yes, Alice descends somewhat sulkily because she has seen the original Ghostbusters movie, and the fire emergency poles looked so much more fun in the movie. Like, are they all this slow? This is terrible.
Could be the guest pole.
So the three of you descend. Captain Charles just goes, leans into the hole, and just kind of shouts, not at you, but like very obviously past you to one side. Hey guys, 3 for you. I don't know what the deal is, but they'll tell you. And then straightens up and whistles again, and the hole is closed. You are now standing in pitch dark. You know that you're standing on a surface, but you don't know much of the surface. And then suddenly you see all of the lights turn on in the room that you're in. and you see like what looks like this like massive complex to your right, with two wooden doors. Like the wall that is facing you has two wooden doors, and one of the leftmost door opens, and you see a black gentleman step out. Same darkish fire station training shirt, same gray slacks. Poke his head out through the door and go, y'all came to... Oh, it's y'all. Y'all have business with us?
Yes.
Uh,
With number 55138.
Alice is whispering to Nakmat, "Can you go anywhere without being recognized? How is this not hell on earth for you?"
Oh, I don't like it. I'm not listening. I can't hear
Alice, Alice, give me an observe roll.
Okay.
Control standard +2.
Yeah. Let's make that a D20 since I've been rolling like trash today.
Oh god.
And that's a 9 plus 4, 13.
13,
Yay.
cool. You recognize this person. This
Oh
firefighter.
no, oh no, oh
This
no.
firefighter was on the scene at the park when the thing happened.
Oh, right. So this is one of the firefighters that I threatened to accuse of being a pervert. Okay.
I mean, he seems to recognize you all, and he doesn't seem particularly bothered.
That's good because I'm not sorry and I won't apologize.
So he he pushes the door wider, steps back, and goes, please, come on in. You kind of interrupted us in the middle of our research thing, but as soon as that's done, we will, get to your query soon. Officer O'Hara is actually in the lab right now, so he'll get with you shortly. Anyway, just come with us. Let's show you some stuff while that's happening. And you step in through the door, and you see that the rest of this complex seems to be made out of a combination of cinder block, polished steel, maybe even not steel, maybe even something like actual silver, and large plates of what look like bulletproof glass.
So the glass, there are windows, we're not underground or anything?
No, you are underground, but you are seeing like large. It looks like you're in the bullpen of like a police office, but like every individual space seems to have at least one large sheet of glass in front of it. You see that they've used some of them as like writing boards. You see some of them are the windows into what look like cubicles where they like have like a storage room
Are there
that is
visible
presently.
exits?
It appears to you that the only way in or out of this space is through the door that you came and back up the pole.
Yeah, Alice is like trying to keep it quiet, but she is extremely freaked out by, "We came down via pole. How the hell are we getting back up?"
So this officer is like pointing out like what are in some of the rooms, that they have a storage room here with some of their documents, that they have an investigation station nearby. Like, he's not qualifying any of these things to you. He's just letting you know, hey, these are the things that are in this space. That we have several combat practice rooms. He doesn't qualify why firefighters need that, etc., etc. And then he goes, well, let me take you to the lab since you're gonna have to meet Rui just now. And then he opens another wooden door right ahead of you, and you see there is a recording studio in this space. Like a very large, very state-of-the-art recording studio. And in the sound booth, you see the other three fire officers who were at the park that day, and a very large purple crystal hovering in the air right in front of them.
Do you give this kind of tour to all of your visitors?
We typically don't get visitors. The mic, well, the audio in the listening area of this recording studio is down, but it's still on. So, all of you notice these things. Even though, like, Nachmat notices a little bit more, because Nachmat has done some levels of research with these things to the point where it is now, like, overt to you. Nachmat, the very first thing that you notice when you look at the space is that crystal, it looks like an open noise portal if it weren't a portal. It looks like just pure noise. It actually looks like a larger version of one of the crystals that you should still have in your possession. Judging from your distance from it, this crystal looks like it is as tall as half of you, and it's just kind of hovering in the air and spinning very rapidly. It doesn't seem to be making any sound. In fact, it seems to be reducing the amount of sound in the room. It seems to be actively fighting all other sound that is taking place in that sound booth. The other thing, even though you notice at first, you are aware that you are hearing other things in that room. The thing that you are hearing is those other three firefighters are actively singing Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison at the crystal. They're very good. They're very talented. One of them is beatboxing, and they sound like an actual synthesizer. This other fire officer walks up to the console of music equipment in front of him, opens the laptop right at the center of it, and taps the spacebar and goes, hey guys, I think we need to pause for a moment. Can we deal with this and then just take our notes and start over this experiment from the beginning later in the evening? And one of the other fire officers goes, why? I don't think... Well, I mean, we could wrap it up, but we kind of need this research very soon. As they're talking, the noise crystal starts... like, you can see ice forming on the surface of the crystal. And one of the other fire officers panics and says, hey guys, maybe we need to actually do the thing. Maybe we really do need to... So the officer that is with you right now rushes out through the door that you came. You hear this door close, you hear another door open and close, you hear another door open and close, you hear another door open, and you see him in the booth with the other three. He closes it, and they start barbershop quartet harmonizing. until the crystal starts warming, starts catching fire. They harmonize again. The fire disappears, and then the crystal just kind of disappears into itself and fades away and is gone. You see that the officer who was with you mutes the mic and is talking to the other three while you can't hear, is gesturing to the window that you're all seeing them through. And they all turn. He gestures to one of them in particular. And you see that man nod, shrug, nod again, and then step back out through that door. You hear that door open and close. You hear another door open and close. You hear another door open and close. You hear this door open. And you turn around to see a 6'6", considerably handsome, considerably well-built Asian gentleman. Close the door, step back all the way to the point where his back is pressing against the door, and go, hi, you came to see me? I'm Officer Rui O'Hara. I'm the lead singer of Burning Point. I imagine that you asked us here specifically because we needed to do a noise anomaly problem. Can I ask who recommended y'all to us?
That would be Miss Shop. I had no idea that you did so much more beyond fighting fires.
Oh, Miss Sharp sent y'all? Okay, cool. That means it's about the thing. That's cool. Suffice it to say that a lot of people don't know that civil servants are now kind of responsible for noise weirdness whenever it enters their immediate purview. So because we're a branch of emergency services, we are kind of responsible for making sure that noise doesn't eat your neighbors. It's weird. We don't like it either. But yeah, if you're here about the freezing incidents over the last couple of weeks. Cool. I guess we'll take you to the investigation room and share all the details that we presently have with you. He opens the door again, steps all as far away from all of you as possible, and gestures to the door and goes, "You'll step out first, and I'll guide you to the room."
Cool. I hope it's a bunch of pictures and strings.
We don't do a lot of
Alice?
strings here, but there may be a lot of pictures.
Alice grabs River's arm and hisses, I've been in this country less than 48 hours. What freezing incidents?
Okay, if we're walking, I would just be like, okay, so there was this kind of executive guy, and from what I understand, he was frozen to death and then pushed out of his building so that he shattered into a whole bunch of pieces.
He probably deserved it.
Who's to say?
But I'm sorry,
Oh. I mean, that's what the executives were talking to us about, right? We're all the list of people.
That's why that guy was so upset.
Yes, all the
thinks
list of people associated with Millie Blue have been.
So while you're all walking down the hallway, behind Officer O'Hara, I would like all of you to give me an observe roll, risky standard.
I'll never stop rolling d20s for this.
Tonight is just the performing the act of observation.
Yeah, okay, so that's a 6 total out of me.
Wow. 15.
In
Yeah,
my defense,
15.
like, Alice has jet lag.
Heart is so jet lagged.
I don't think. Nachman, have you rolled? Cool.
Nope. Not yet.
I see everything.
I got a 15. I also
Cool.
see everything.
Hell yeah.
This is actually hilarious. This is hilarious in context. Uh, River and Nachmat, you notice a handful of things in this moment as you are like coming out and walking down this hallway. You are now properly taking stock of the space that you are in, and you realize that some of the documents that you have seen so far are research on noise anomalies. Because they're in rooms that you are not presently accessing, you don't know what they're saying, but you can see photos that are very clearly of those anomalies. You can see some instruments that resemble instruments that you have available at school, but these are far more efficient. Some of them look brand new. You can see some other instruments that you have no idea what they do in the first place. While you're observing all of that, you notice that Officer O'Hara reaches into his pocket for his cell phone, which was apparently on silent because he got a phone call, and answers it, but you have no idea what he's saying on the other end of the phone. Alice, how nervous are you in this space at this moment?
Well, I'm following strangers down a strange hallway on a level of the building that we descended to via pole, and I definitely don't have the upper body strength to, climb hand over hand back up that thing. So, pretty nervous. Strongly disliking just the vibe of this entire situation.
Cool. So, a lot of that nervousness just kind of dwells on you in this moment and makes it very difficult for you to notice a thing until it is over.
Oh no.
You are walking down this hallway. You feel kind of claustrophobic. You feel kind of intensely overwhelmed by everything that you've just witnessed all at once. You feel like you are in an actively hostile space. You kind of distrust everything that is taking place around you in this moment. That's when you notice that you have just come to a stop into the investigations room, as Officer O'Hara opens the door and gestures for you all to enter, as he puts away his cell phone and gestures for you all to step into the room. And it only dawns on you when that phone call is now done as a result. Oh wait, he was speaking Japanese on the phone. You have no idea what he was talking about now. But yeah, he asks for you all to enter. This room is all of the arm's length available stretches of wall in this room are pure glass. There are things written on all of the surfaces of these rooms. It's like this room is like half. Well, this room is like a quarter of a football field long. And all of its walls just have scribbles about the dates and times of various various events in Sonata 6. Some photos of them are either stuck to those glass surfaces via masking tape, or are present on this large oval shaped table in the center. You can see multiple open folders with like other photos, other handwritten documents. There is a large tape recorder in one of the corners of the room. You can see one laptop that is presently open, but it's password protected. There's nothing on the screen at the moment. And as you all enter, Officer O'Hara stops, scratches his head for a little bit, and goes, right, okay, so the first thing I guess I should show you all is all of the documentation that we have about the victims of the prior events that have already taken place. He pauses.
That would be helpful, yes.
He walks over to the other corner of the room where you previously didn't see anything. It looked like there was nothing in this corner of the room. But it's only when he puts his hand on it that you see that there is actually a filing cabinet here. Like it only becomes visible when he touches it. And he opens the first drawer and takes out several folders from it and closes it back. So there have been 4 incidents in the last week and a half. We made several copies of them in the event that we needed to ever show them to someone else. So you can all have these so long as you don't show them to anyone else. And he hands you all a very thick manila folder that has stenciled on the front 4 eyes only, freezing incidents, and the period of time that they took place in the last week. You flip through them, and it's mostly photos that you have already seen in the news. But these were obviously taken closer to the site of the event, and are accompanied by photos and annotations to video that were taken inside those houses after they got themselves in. So you are now seeing far more detailed photographs of those scenes. You're seeing that many of the entire rooms were encased in ice and either needed to be chiseled out or melted out. There are detailed descriptions of survivors and individuals who did not survive those events. Most of the people who were actually in those houses were alone. Except for one person who was unfortunately with a guest at the time. Descriptions of property and whether that property was damaged as a result. Description of the scene after they were recovered. Some of those descriptions describe that it seemed as though when you entered some of those houses, at a point where you got past the ice, it felt like you were no longer in the physical space that was supposed to be in that area. One of the reports of the second house says that one of the other firefighters on the scene, when they finally got from the living room to the dining room, described that the physical dimensions of the space were such that they did not think that they were in a house anymore, and that when they moved from that area to the next area by turning right, they got to an upstairs room. But once they had cleared all of the ice from the space, that phenomenon was no longer observable. A lot of the rest of the documentation is like the description of the cost of the damages of any of those homes, whether those homes were recovered as a result, or whether the ice damage made it impossible to recover those homes, etc. As he's going over those notes, he goes, those things don't really matter for Miss Sharp, but I'm giving you them anyway because those are the particulars of those events. The thing that mattered to her was the fact that they're all in the same profession. She didn't give me a great deal more detail than that, so I had to do that kind of math on my own, and turns out she only really cared when I ended up doing that, essentially, because that's when I found out some funny business. So he flips through the envelope, the folder that he takes out for himself, and takes out a sealed envelope and hands it to the first person who stands in front of him just so happens to be Nachmat. So there is like a letter-sized orange envelope in your hand now. I've seen what's in that, but suffice it to say that if I hand that to anybody, someone's gonna do something that amounts to slander with it. So I'm kind of grateful that I'm not handing it to someone who actually works at a production company. So y'all can look at that freely. Just don't tell Miss Sharp everything that's in that folder. Just look at what's necessary.
Luckily for you, we are not the best of friends with Devlin and Co. So we have no incentive to tell them anything that isn't necessary to keeping people safe.
Cool. I mean, not being friends with Devlin and Co. is both a very large club to be in, and given the information in this document, risky business in and of itself, but you'll see for yourself. Do you open the envelope?
I was gonna ask, would you like us to look now, or?
No, yeah, go ahead. If you're here to see it, you're gonna have to see it before you can leave, because you can't leave with it.
Fair enough. Nachmat will open it and pull the other two over, so that they can see as well.
River would want us all to be sitting down, because it seems like this is going to be some heavy material with gross stuff in it.
Chair huddle.
You sit at the table. Just as you gather at the table, you suddenly realize that the other three fire officers are now entering the room, and like gesturing to each other silently. You see them gesture to Officer O'Hara silently, and he just kind of like shakes his head and asks them to sit on the other side of the table. And you sit down and you open this folder and take all of these documents out. It starts with computer printed scans of the same newspaper articles that Andrea showed you earlier that day. And they just keep going. You notice that it's like 9, 10, 11. The first like 6 of them are the names of people who are on the list that have already been attacked. But the rest are like older articles from like other executives, other promoters, other producers who have worked with Mini Blue, speaking in interviews about their relationships with each other, what they think about Mini Blue's career. Some of them are dated before her passing, and are like them talking about how glad they are that her new single is doing well, or how frustrated they are about a particular scandal, or just like the presence of them saying no comment in response to a certain thing. The ones that are dated after Mini Blue's passing are their like long-winded mentions in obituaries and stuff like that. And then the rest of those, the rest of the documents in that envelope are 2 large stenopads full of handwritten penciled notes of like minor connections that whoever has handwritten these notes has made between each of these industry professionals before and after Mini Blue's passing, that are like so intense and so like difficult to parse at the moment, in part because they're written in pencil, that you just kind of flip through them now. You know that if you wanted to see a thing and observe a thing more closely, you will have to take a moment to actually flip through this, and you feel like at the moment you kind of don't have the energy to do that right now. Alice, you can ask a thing.
Yes, a thing Alice would be tuned to would be any articles about this scandal and avoiding comment on it. What precisely was the scandal that Mini Blue was involved in?
There are 3 noted scandals. One
Busy gal.
One is that very somewhere around the middle of her career, there was a leak of a video of Minnie Blue being intimate with her boyfriend at the time. That obviously made the rounds in sleazier parts of the internet, but part of the news cycle of that incident was that Minnie Blue insisted that the tape does not exist. That even though people are seeing a thing, it is obviously fabricated, and she does not know why. Of which various producers were of two minds about the thing, because some of them were like, if Minnie Blue doesn't want to talk about if Minnie Blue doesn't want to talk about the thing, I'm gonna count this as not wanting to talk about the thing, so I'm gonna say no comment. And others were like, I mean, we're obviously seeing a thing, right? The second is Minnie Blue having a verbal altercation with Quinn Devlin at Devlin's apartment in another hex. That was heavily documented by paparazzi, but nobody knew what the fight pertained to. And immediately following the fight, both of them insisted that they did not have a fight. But the news that came out afterward were like largely in the rumor mill, large rumors in the rumor mill that Minnie Blue wanted out of her contract with Lightspeed Promotions. That was resolved through some backstage deal that no one knew the details of, and neither party would comment about that resolution ever since. And the third is that Minnie Blue and Quinn Devlin and another producer, one of the producers who have unfortunately already passed, had a meeting the weekend, roughly 3 or 4 days before the flight in which Minnie Blue passed. And in that meeting, like all of the details of that meeting were apparently shrouded in secrecy, which was a point of conflict between Devlin and one of the execs at Minnie Blue's label. Also long since passed at this point. Who refused to say anything about why that's a point of contention for them. So nobody even knows no one can even guess what happened in the meeting that would be a point of hostility between them, because they won't even say that they have engaged in hostilities about it. And then multiple like other blogosphere pieces about whether that fight led to the conspiracy of Minnie Blue's passing. Like this large conspiratorial text. Like on one blog there is like this large text file that is not in the file that is present, but it's like a 4 gigabyte TXT file alleging a grand conspiracy that led to Minnie Blue's death, that is referenced in one of those documents, and that you notice that it is also referenced in one of the rescue reports in the earlier file, because the page that document was available for download on was open on the computer of one of the industry professionals who has recently been attacked. If you
Sorry,
want.
the allergies are very.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, Alice,
Mhm.
because you asked, I feel like I need to ask in turn. How much of that is like comparable to your own experience?
It's not that it's directly comparable to her own experience, it's that she has seen a lot of shady shit and heard a lot of rumors of shady shit, so that she is developing some theories about what might be happening in these meetings. And she's also wondering if it's possible that the sex tape is deep faked.
Um, okay, noted. Um, while this is happening, I'd like Nakmat and Alice to give me an observe roll. Your position is risky. Your effect is standard. Lots of observations. Lots of observations are being made tonight. Oh god. Oh god. Noted.
Okay, so that adds up to a 20, so I think I just galaxy brained extremely hard.
Yeah. You did a whole thing. Okay, cool. Um
I know everything, and now my brain hurts.
Nakmat, you begin skimming through the two steno pads. And the only thing that really gets your attention at this point is like a mention in the very first page, like one of the very first pages of the first steno pad, because they're numbered. Like the pads themselves are numbered, and then the pages themselves are numbered as if you're supposed to read them in an order. So like on the middle of page 5 of Stenopad 1, you just kind of hone in idly on a paragraph that mentions that many of Minnie Blue's early interviews when she first got into the business, like when she was like 17, 18, 19, 20, would speak a lot about the fact that she considered Quinn Devlin her friend, thought very deeply about the fact that he would regularly go out of his way to go to bat for her when particular things came up in her career, and felt like if there was any person in the industry that she felt like she could absolutely trust at that point, it was her mother, who was trying to get an industry professional position as a result to better safeguard her relationship with her daughter, and Quinn Devlin. Like dozens and dozens of mentions. Like there are footnotes to more than 40 individual entertainment magazine interviews where she says the exact same thing. But the thing that you notice is the following paragraph seems to bear that out factually. That on several occasions, either individual music entertainment bloggers, or literally just one interviewer at one magazine who seemed to do his due diligence, seemed to notice that while Quinn Devlin would be relatively flippant with most of the other artists on his personnel roster, there are times when he has like gotten out of bed in Korea to board a plane to meet Minnie Blue in the middle of the night because she was having like a mild business related panic attack and just wanted to provide personal comfort to her. Or that Quinn Devlin is the only person in the industry who has who has like regularly given Minnie Blue gifts as celebration for career milestones, where everybody else just kind of like, yeah, sure, these things happen, you're kind of in the industry now, it's cool. But like it seemed like these reports, at least attempt to bear out the assumption that Quinn Devlin was legitimately deeply invested in the progression of Minnie Blue's career. And then at some point, that observation just kind of stops.
So, question. Does it... So we know that, like, Minnie Blue stops saying that about Quinn Devlin. Does Quinn Devlin stop acting the same way as well? Like...
Based on the reading that you do right now, you see that, and you're like thinking that, you're asking that question of yourself. But it doesn't, like, you feel like the bandwidth necessary to read the rest of this goddamn stenopad to find out whether that is the case and why is a lot for you, because it just kind of cuts off there and starts going into like career highlights of Minnie Blue that you kind of don't want to have to read through in order to find the thing that you're looking for, so you just kind of stop there immediately.
Sure.
Alice, you notice the same, and it pings the thing that I know it pings in you, which is like, nah, that's bullshit. But as you like skim through some of those career highlights, you bits and pieces of the edges of those stories kind of weirdly still bear that out for you. You still feel like you can't trust Quinn Devlin, but the rest of the story implies Minnie Blue was doing very, very well, and while a lot of the rest of the industry just kind of took that for granted because she's a blonde, white teenage girl doing bubblegum pop, the only times when she ever had a personal concern about the industry and needed somebody to resolve it, had a personal concern full stop, and needed to talk to somebody but only had industry professionals around, wrote a song and wanted to have a conversation about what that song's actual impact in the real world would be, or any of those like genuine career oriented issues that someone in her position would have. The only person that she would ever willingly go toward to ask and answer those questions is Quinn Devlin. Quinn Devlin is not a songwriter, but has actually songwriting credits on at least 2 of her songs. Because a personal concern that she had about like being popular, or whether any of her relationships were going to be genuine as a result, and stuff like that, were conversations she had with Devlin. And she would later state in interviews, I think that you just see as a footnote in one of the other paragraphs on that stenopad, that a lyric in one of the songs that she wrote is verbatim something that Quinn Devlin told her.
Alice hates this so much.
Yeah, it feels very weird to you all of a sudden, because a part of you is like, nah, this is fake. This is scummy and fake. Quinn Devlin was playing the long game somehow, but a part of you is like, but if it is real though, why the fuck didn't I have something like this? How is it that this one person managed to luck into the healthiest personal relationship that she had in the industry ever, and then why is she dead? Just kind of pings in your brain. And while all of that is happening, you just kind of idly note as well, Officer O'Hara's phone has been going off all during the reading of this. Like, his phone is on vibrate, but you can tell that he's been getting a text message every 18 seconds since you sat down. And you can tell that he seems very awkward about not answering it.
So he's
And
not
you said it's on
replying to them?
vibrate?
He's just getting messages?
Yeah, his phone is still in his pocket. He's not responding to it whatsoever. He's just kind of watching you all read those notes and like signaling
Alice
back
looks
silently
at
to the
him.
rest of them.
Alice looks at him and says, You know, that rattle is really distracting. Do you mind putting that on silent?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. He puts his phone on silent, starts reading through some of those messages. You hear him chuckle to himself and sigh. He texts back a very short reply and then puts his phone away. Um, God, what did you roll again? You
Ooh.
rolled a 20. Straining is straining.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think this is the second time Alice has strained her observe roll in this in-game day because she strained the observe when she was looking at the noise anomaly. So I think
Mm-hmm.
at this point she has galaxy brain so hard she sprained something in there.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. So this is exactly what happens. What happens next makes you feel like you are briefly confused by a thing. Like you notice the thing and you're like, I don't think this has ever happened before. Even since the thing has happened, even since the frequency was entered into the world, you've never had this experience. But you feel like it's noteworthy because you're also hitting on a lot of other things at this moment. Um, the first is while you were just speaking to Officer O'Hara, you notice, like, just kind of idly, you just kind of have this brief flash of a fight that is taking place between um Minnie Blue and Quinn Devlin, who you can vaguely tell this is like some years ago, if only because you can obviously note that Minnie Blue looks quite a bit, just a little bit younger than her last photos did. Quinn Devlin also always looks like a scumbag, but he does remarkably look kind of just a couple of years younger. You can't hear the fight, but you can notice in that vision, very idly, that it seems like Minnie is very angry, but not at Devlin, and Devlin is very deferential. He seems somewhat like he seems more than nervous, but less than afraid. He seems like he looks like somewhere between someone being scolded and someone realizing that they need to make a decision that they don't know what is the best possible decision to make. But you can't tell what. Both of those things are just in the back of your brain as you see this thing, and it just kind of fades away, and you're like, I have no idea what that is. Am I just imagining a thing? But it feels more real than you just guessing at what you just read here. And then, as you have already spoken to Officer O'Hara, and he takes out his phone, messages back, and puts it away, you just kind of idly note that the wallpaper on his phone is a photo that looks familiar to you, but it doesn't immediately occur to you why. It looks like it is a photograph of two figures, one of whom is like taller and like you can't make out much more about the image because it seems like that portion of the photograph is kind of blurred. But it does vaguely seem like it would be a person of Officer O'Hara's height, wearing something that looks like a very soft color, like maybe all white or all khaki, but you can't really make out. And to that figure's left in the photo is a young girl, 15, 16, um, with two blue light sticks in her hand and a ticket for something that you can't really make out what in the photo. And you're like looking at it like, what's this? And it just kind of flashes to you idly in your brain, almost like another vision. And you don't know if you're making this up as well. You see the moment before this photo was taken. You're seeing it from the perspective of the person who is standing on the right of this photo. They're looking ahead at an older woman with an iPhone taking the photo in front of them. Like she takes 3 or 4, comes up to them and shows them, well, this one looks the best. Everyone in this image, everyone in this vision that you're having, you can hear them speak very softly. And they're all speaking Japanese. And this person, the person whose like senses you seem to be inhabiting, turn to the girl on their left, and she goes, "I'm really sorry that you couldn't come with me. I thought that we were all gonna go together as a family, but me and my mom will go and we'll have lots of fun. We'll take lots of pictures. But I'm so excited that I'm gonna get to see Luna Trigger. It's so rad. And I'll buy lots of CDs and I'll buy all of Alice's merch and I'll give it back to you." And you are looking at this thing and just kind of, why do I know? When did this happen? And then it just kind of clicks in your brain. This scene that you're seeing, the photo that you just glanced at, was taken the afternoon before you met that girl that you were thinking about just earlier today, who came to you at that meet and greet and was so very excited to know that not only that she was coming to a Luna Trigger concert, but that she was going to see you and get you to notice all of the cool stuff that she bought and got you to sign all of it. I was so excited to see you in particular. And in that moment, you're like trying to remember the rest of that concert, trying to remember if the night of that actual concert felt good. And you're like playing out the actually getting on stage and performing in your head, and it feels like you don't feel anything from actually performing there in that moment. But a part of you glances out into the stage. You don't even remember if you did this on the night itself. But you glance out into the stage to see if you can find this girl. And third row all the way to the left, you can see someone who looks like they're standing on their chair in this stadium, waving 2 blue light sticks very, very excitedly. And you can't tell in the dark, but you just have this strong, intense emotional feeling that that's that girl. And the memory is kind of cut off by this, like, intense siren sound that rings out through the entire building. It sounds very muted down here because this is like the stone basement of this goddamn fire department. But you can still hear it. And you hear it ring maybe 2 or 3 times and then shut off immediately. The other 4 fire officers in the room glance at each other. One of them glances at their smartphone, like stares at it very intensely, and then comes back at everybody else and just shrugs. And gives a signal to each other as if it didn't seem like it was a very big deal, and they just kind of go, like, you can see them just kind of like gesture to each other silently again, and then the officer who led you to the recording studio goes, I'm gonna go upstairs or check on a thing, but y'all are still fine here. Y'all continue doing what you're doing. And he skips out and heads upstairs as you continue reading these things.
And the other 3 guys are still in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Alice looks up at them and goes, "Do you not have to put out the fire?"
I mean, if it were a fire, that sound wouldn't stop, so we're trying to figure out what the matter was. Yeah, suffice it to say that a lot of teenagers think that it's very funny to pull a certain kind of prank on people who do not deserve it. But yes, if we hear back that it's not a false alarm, we will deploy. But for the moment, we kind of also need to make sure that these documents aren't unattended. While that's happening, you notice now Officer O'Hara is now even, like, you can just feel the vibes that he's even more anxious about not knowing whether he's getting a message now. So he takes his phone out of his pocket again, is glancing, chuckles again, puts it away. And River, I would like you to give me an observe or a tune roll.
They're both the same, but I refuse to shake things up by
Oh god.
moving away from observe.
Okay, your position is risky and your effect is limited.
23.
Jesus Christ.
I haven't rolled beyond the. Every time I roll a d20.
You
I haven't
haven't
rolled
not
above a 15
strained.
yet.
You haven't not strained all night, have you?
No, I've gotten 215.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Right.
I'll take some stress at this point, though.
So, you are flipping through these documents, just kind of idly comparing all of these things. And you just kind of accidentally notice among these scans of these newspaper articles, you notice that they're not just the newspaper articles, because you're just like flipping through them again, and you notice there is a magazine piece on the plane crash that killed Minnie Blue. And it's only now that you're looking at it again that you notice someone actually took handwritten notes in the margins of these things. Someone
These things being all of the articles, or just this magazine article?
Just this magazine article. Somebody underlined the whole names of everyone who is mentioned in the article, except for Minnie Blue and Minnie Blue's like real name.
Do they match up with the people who have been killed via ice?
Some, but not all, of those industry professionals are mentioned in this piece, and all of them are underlined. But they're all just underlined, and there is no distinction between... because it looks like this was printed... It looks like this scan was made the day that this article came out, or just recently afterward. You see, like in the margins, handwritten, like very peculiar but simple questions. Like in one margin, somebody wrote, "Can a plane do that?" And it is pointed at a part of one paragraph that mentions how long the fire of the plane crash was still burning before anybody even noticed that it was there. Which seems perfectly understandable to you, but perhaps was noteworthy to this person. By one of the names of one of the industry professionals who has already recently been attacked. Someone made a note in the very narrow margin between the two columns. Why wasn't this person on the plane? Question mark, question mark, question mark. The name of Minnie Blue's boyfriend, Kent Stone, is the only name in the entire article that is circled. It's also underlined, but it's circled. And in the margin next to that, someone wrote, "Who are you?" But you're like flipping through and making note of all of those things, and that's when you catch idly on the back of on the like plain white back of the print of these articles. Someone wrote at the back of this magazine article. Somebody wrote, footnotes from unknown contributor. So you get the impression that whoever put those footnotes here is not one of these individuals. You can ask to make sure, but it seems like somebody needs to add specifically to make sure that that it was clear that nobody knows who made these footnotes.
Where did you get all of these articles, newspapers, magazines, otherwise from? Like, what did you cut them out from? I say to a fireman.
Officer O'Hara goes, I went to the library to get some of these scanned, so they come with whatever other baggage was also made by someone in the library. I don't know who tampered with this. When I asked about the article that's presently in your hand, the head librarian said they don't know who did that, but that day only 4 people checked out that magazine, and we didn't dig into it much further after that because it didn't seem like it was gonna be fruitful. But if you want us to follow up on that,
I would. I'd like a list of those 4 people.
Yeah, okay, cool. Miss Calloway should still be working at the library. She should be able to help us. Yeah, I could do that.
As the magazine article lists people, does it happen to line up with the order that people died via ice?
It does not. For the obviously noteworthy reason, of course, that Quinn Devlin's name is one of the earliest names mentioned in the piece, and he's not dead yet. But
I'd love to do things like cross-reference dates of interviews with all of these people and noteworthy dead people, and the order of deaths, and perhaps manner and address. I'm going to need to make my own article with string wall with various dates, and just for a little chuckle for old Katie, Pepe Sylvia right in the middle, but nothing else.
Do you mention this aloud to the other firefighters in the room? Do you mention the desire to do this aloud?
I'd say that out loud. Yeah, I want to see if my buds also agree that we need to check every crisscross.
Cool.
Do some investigation.
I would agree. I also think it's worth coming back in here and digging through this information as much as they'll let us return.
Okay, you say that aloud. The 3 firefighters presently in the room look at you silently for several beats. And then...
boys, does this library need a card?
And then one of the other firefighters starts, like, laughing hysterically. And, like, pokes Officer O'Hara with his shoulder.
Wasn't that good a joke?
And goes, I thought we wouldn't need. I thought we didn't need the Constellarium, but I guess we're gonna have to show them all of our fancy gadgets tonight, aren't we? Um, and
I
then,
mean, they'd be fun to see.
and then,
Apparently, you have a better budget than our university.
Officer O'Hara chuckles to you. Um, uh, Turns to the door where you notice that there is a very small light switch right by the door. Even though no one had to turn on any lights for you to enter this, for the light to be on to enter this room. And when he flicks it off, the lights come off, and a very small orb that you can just see faintly from the ambient light from the other glass spaces in this space falls from the ceiling, and it flicks on, and a hologram of light is produced like right in the center of the room that makes a jagged constellation shaped timeline of every minor event that has taken place from Mini Blue's first scouting to the very last freezing event. And Officer O'Hara like walks through the hologram, gestures back behind his head to it, and goes, friends, I think we can do much better than string. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session of Soundclash the Clampdown. So, instead of the corkboard and random pieces of paper connected by red string, we have a goddamn hologram.
I'm into this evolution in murder board technology.
Yeah. At some point you do have to step it up. But yes, how do you all feel?
That's the name of the company that makes the holograms for them.
Oh god. So how do you all feel about tonight's session of Soundclash?
Well, most of us have strained an observe roll tonight.
Mm-hmm. These
I mean,
are the
what
best.
else could we have strained?
These are some of
I
the best
think we
rolls that
know
y'all have
too
had in a
much.
while. Y'all have, yeah, y'all are learning. Y'all are unlocking the secrets of the universe at this point. I kind of wanted to make sure to pepper some of those observations with like idle observations about the rest of the world as well. So I'm glad that I gave y'all a lot of tidbits about some of those, some of the people that you have discovered in this space. Nachmat, how do you feel about the things that you have presently learned and the promise of what you will learn in the future?
Excited.
That's going to be juicy. I'm very excited to get more into that. River, you have just discovered like a grand conspiracy at the core of the thing. We've just we've seen through the looking glass at this point. How does this make you feel about all of the conflicts that have already arisen in this game?
Feels like everything's coming together. There have been names. There's been ice. I wrote a song about the ice a while back, but I have now lost the lyrics.
So that means that I should expect another one very, very soon, yes? Cool.
As soon as Frozen 3 comes out, sure.
Oh god, no. Nah, I don't want us to be beholden to that, but understood. God damn it. And Alice. The last time you met these firefighters, you absolutely did not trust them. Has that changed?
Oh no, I still don't trust them.
Fair, cool.
I think I trust them less now.
Less? Wow. Fair, understood. But how do you feel about the things that you have learned so far?
So, given that in the in-game day, Alice has strained at least 2 observe rolls, she knows the secrets of the universe now. She has full galaxy brained. Her third eye is just glued open. She hates it.
Fair, cool. I think a part of me is particularly excited for the future episode where Ava has just come from what will probably be a very intense dinner and then has to ask you all, well, what happened? And you'll have to explain all of this. Will be, in fact, very wild. But
We'll need to build a low-tech murder board to explain it to Ava.
yes. I'm sure you will find string for that. But until then, I will ask all of you lovely people to let all of you lovely people in chat know who you are, what you do, and where folks can find you next. Starting with Nakhmat.
Hey, I'm Amr Emraz. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Emraz. Not doing too much right now, so just follow me on Twitter, and that's about it. Oh, that's very quiet right now. Yeah, that's all I got.
Duly noted. Next, Katie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Chin. You can find me at my various social medias that would probably show up on the stream chat to the side right now. If not, I'm at Katie Peak, with Peak spelled like Mountain Peak, on Twitter. If you want to catch me somehow in the real world, I'll be doing a show at SoCap Theater in Toronto, where I'll be doing improv with fellow Humber College comedy performance and writing classmates. It'll sure to be a fun time if you're in Toronto, and I hope some of you are. Moi.
And if you're not in Toronto, that means that you're obligated to tell all of your Torontonian friends that they should go, because Katie is actually quite funny. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusanoi Iori, Clarion West class of 2017. I am one of those they thems. You can find me at kusanoiori.com, Twitter, Iori Kusano, and on Master Duel at 675-877-938. Fight me, coward! Also, keep an eye on Twitter. There is going to be an exciting announcement tomorrow, God willing.
I know very little. I know just a tiny bit about this announcement, but I'm very hype about this announcement. So, definitely check that out. As for me, I have been your humble stage manager this evening, Brandon O'Brien, pronouns he, him, or they, them. I am a poet, writer, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago, and the creator of the mess called Soundclash, which is a Blades in the Dark hack about music, magic, and sticking it to the industry when the industry tries to use you. I'm also the author of Can You Sign My Tentacle, which you can get a copy of at your favorite bookstore or on Amazon. I am presently having a birthday sale on my itch page, therisingtides.itch.io, as a result of both attempting to celebrate getting to level 32 and trying to solve a very peculiar financial issue that has been annoying and frustrating me for the last 3 weeks. The best way to give me money until April the 8th is to give me money by buying my games on itch. So if you'd like to do that, whether you have the game already or you don't, or you just want to support the cool things that I do, I'd really like it if you checked out that thing. Some of my poetry is actually in that space as well, if you ever wanted to read some of the poems that are not in Can You Sign My Tentacle. But also, a good way to support me as well is by buying the book, because I think that the book is rad. And yes, of course, god damn it, I'm also one of... I'm also a former member of the Hugo Award-winning magazine Fire. I am not special. The magazine is special, and I was just a part of it. But yes, thank you for mentioning the thing. Y'all are never gonna let me live that down. I'm gonna try my very hardest to be humble, and you're not gonna let me do it. Okay, cool. Thank you. But yes, I did win a Hugo. Yes, I will say it. God damn it. But yes, thank you so very much again for joining us this evening. Our April date is to be determined, because April is a lot right now, including but not limited to my birthday. But still, and I will also let you know that one of the things that will be happening on my birthday, in fact, is I am having a birthday stream on on twitch.tv/The Rising Tides, where Iori is actually going to join me in some Master Duel, but also we're going to get into a lot of shenanigans. So please check that out when that happens. More information about the time for that on April 4th, upcoming. But yes, until then, I would like to ask all of the lovely people that I just played with to bid adieu to all of you lovely people in chat. Thank you again for hanging out with me. This was very cool. I'm very excited to get all of you in trouble when next we have to engage with the investigation that you've just done. But until then, I am going to briefly disappear while I come over here. Hello, everybody, and thank you yet again for joining us for Soundclash the Clampdown. I'm very glad that we got into the shenanigans that we did get into. There are yet more shenanigans that have already been planned, but the only reason you didn't get into those shenanigans is because our resident teacher, Eva Peron, played by Victor Villavicencio, could not join us this evening because a thing came up for Victor, which is unfortunate, but everything is fine. Victor will return very, very soon for our next session. April date will be kind. I'm very sorry. OBS was going through it for a little bit back there. I apologize. But, again, thank you so very much for joining us for Soundclash the Clampdown. I'm very excited about our future episode. Yes, it's doing the thing. But yes, I am very excited about what happens next. You will hear more information about our planned dates for our next session very, very soon. Until then, a reminder, of course, that you support this channel in various different ways by joining the Discord at !arvcord, by watching and liking and sharing. Most importantly, if I ever forget to tell you that, the VODs that you can find on the YouTube channel, which you can find at !arvtube, by buying cool merch at the shop, which you can find at !arvshop, by following Gregory Wilson on Twitter, !arvtweets, because, of course, Greg is very, very cool and very, very smart, and you should definitely be checking out Greg's Twitter. And of course, by supporting the Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/arvaneleron, which is very important for supporting all of the cool things that happen on this channel. As previously mentioned, you were responsible for elevating the quality of potato that I stream with, so thank you very much for that. And if your continued patronage allows us to do even cool things as a result, we are presently somewhere in the 20-something patrons mark. I would like it very much. It would actually be a very cool part of a birthday gift to me if we could get that to 30 to 35 by the end of April. I would love that very much. You're not even supporting just me. You're supporting Greg. You're supporting more cool stuff over here. So please do the thing. And of course, a reminder, exclamation point BLM. We still assert and affirm the value of Black lives in the United States and everywhere. It is very important for us to do the work, not only to be educated, but to be active in the communities that obviously require that kind of assistance. Exclamation point help now, especially passing the 2-year anniversary of some of the most stressful periods that we've ever had in our lifetimes. It is particularly important to be able to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help. So don't hesitate to check out those resources if it not only gives you information that will make you more available for your peers, but gives you information that helps you be more available for yourself in your own time of need as well. And last but not least, exclamation point Ukraine. the Russian occupation of Ukraine is a very real humanitarian crisis at the moment. It is not the only one, but it is a pressing one, and any engagement that you can provide in order to engage with alleviating the suffering of Ukrainians during this experience would be genuinely appreciated. Buying, uh, simply purchasing from Ukraine from the Old Soul gives 100% of funds to the Ukrainian survival effort. Um, and it is very important for us to be able to not only prove that we can be active and engaged when it comes to this, but prove that it is regularly a thing that we are willing to be deliberately engaged about. So thank you so very much if you can do that there. As for me, you will see me very soon. Again, our April dates are yet to be decided, but the very next time that you will see anything on this channel, a reminder that on the 28th, that's tomorrow, at 7:30 EST, we have yet another session of Bag of Giving. This time, Marie Bilodeau as GM will be hosting a D&D homebrew Unsung Heroes to benefit the Hero Initiative. I think all of that sounds very, very rad, so obviously very much support that. I think this is the first time that I'll ever see Marie as a DM and not as a player, so I'm particularly excited. I'm always excited to see more Bag of Giving stuff, and I hope that, again, this month, just like every other month, we are all as engaged in not only checking it out, sharing it with our community so other people can check it out, but also, most definitely, giving to a worthy cause, because Bag of Giving is very, very much all about making sure that we can increase the amount of beautiful in the world by supporting the people who are doing work on the ground to help people in their times of need. So definitely check that out on Monday. On Tuesday, your regularly scheduled programming includes Adventures of Middle-earth, Erebor Adventures, and the final vote for the chat-chosen Patreon Fuel Game of the Month, both happening at 12:30 EST, and then at GOG.com, Pen and Pixels, Talisman Adventures at 4 p.m. And then nothing on Wednesday and nothing on Thursday. And then on April 1st, which may be an April Fool's Day, but no, on April 1st, that Friday at what should be around 9 p.m. EST, more Golden Sun. So if you wanted to see Greg fiddle again with more synergies, please definitely join that thing. So yes, that's all for this week, and that's all for me. So, again, thank you so very much for joining us, and a reminder to you all that I hope that you have a very wonderful night, I hope that you have a very wonderful rest of your week, and I hope that you keep the frequency in your heart. Thank you so very much, and I will see you all very, very soon. Good night, everybody.